I know things you never see. You never see someone taking a shit while running at full speed.
Come on, Key, get rid of some of them turds in the shit box.
Welcome to the Bathroom Break Podcast with me, Rab himself. This week on the podcast, I have skateboard photographer Rick Kosick. He's also well known in the jackass world as the camera guy who pukes a lot. He's a great friend of mine, so we sat down and had a fun conversation about skateboarding, comedy, and what inspires you. Check out the episode. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for coming out to do the podcast. My guest is Rick Kosick, and a lot of you know him from Jackass, but he's also known from his skateboarding photography, Big Brother, did Wild Boys. Right now, currently, you're doing King of the Road.
Yeah, I shot all 3 seasons. That's been featured on Viceland Television Network, and it's airing right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what is like kind of the idea of the King of the Road?
King of the Road is an idea that Michael Burnett created, and where each team gets a book and they have to follow these challenges, and then whoever gets the most points, I guess that's how it works, wins the prize of $50,000, and they get the cover of Thrasher magazine, and be exposed to the world on a national scale. Yeah,
that's awesome. So they just choose like the skaters that they put on the teams, or
no, these are actual teams that are going right now. So like right now it's Element.
Oh, nice.
And then Real Skateboards and Foundation. These guys are all on the team already, and they're all good friends. And so they all get along great, and they have fun participating in all these messed up challenges that they have to do in order to win.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I feel like, and obviously way better than I because you've been in skateboarding forever, but I feel like that's kind of like the feeling like where it used to be. Where like teams used to tour and do all this stuff, and not that they don't still, but I mean, before all the YouTube and all this other stuff, like, you used to do your part and film your video part forever before the team video would come out. And so I feel like there was like a huge camaraderie there with the team, like building things up and touring around and doing that. And that seems like what's happening there.
I guess it is kind of like a different scale of a video part, but there's just a little bit more personality added to it. And, Thrasher's been doing this for quite a long time already, but it's just like they just show like the tricks and stuff. And with what we do on Viceland is we really go in and develop their personalities more. You get to learn each person about what they're about, and and it's fun, And some of my favorite characters I've always worked with is this guy named Mike Sinclair. He's just a team manager, but he's super funny. He's just a very comedic guy, and he's just really gift of gab. He's really great to be on camera. He just flows. He knows how to talk, and he doesn't shut down. And he's just really fun to film. He's like always been my go-to he was on the first season of King of the Road when he's a team manager of a toy machine, and now he's on the 3rd season, which he's on with Foundation, which is the same company owned by Foundation or whatever they're called.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So you just know, like, if I need a bit, then I'll just go to him.
If I need a good soundbite, I always go straight to Mike Sinclair, because he can just ring them out. He's super funny, and he's just really likable and charismatic that way. And but you try to go to the skaters, but they're just not as comfortable, talking in front of the camera, and it's like a trust, and like once they kind of earn your trust, then they'll open up a little bit more.
Yeah, so they're like focused more on the skating part of it, and Sinclair's got like a good comedy rhythm.
The first season was a little tough because like no one knew what this show was going to turn out like, and they were just worried that they're are we going to look like the Kardashians TV show or something terrible like that? That's not our...
No, because you have talent.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's terrible.
They didn't know what the format of the show was going to look like, and neither did we, and so we were just filming like nuts, like constantly. The first season was probably the toughest because we were only getting 5 hours of sleep every night. And because we just didn't know, and we just didn't want to miss anything. But as you know, now it's the third season. There's like a format that we're following now, and it works, you know. And so there'd be like one night, like, all right, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna go shut down. You keep filming. I'm gonna go to sleep early, maybe tonight, but I'll get up early in the morning and go out and do a B-roll pass, you know.
Yeah.
Just kind of switch up the roles a little bit, which was great, you know, because I don't mind going out filming B-roll. I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And it's so helpful for the story of the show, you know, and there wasn't enough of that in the first season.
So, like, your B-roll is kind of like just getting shots of the town and wherever you're at.
Just anything that's going to help develop, you know, like a transition into the story, you know.
Yeah.
Street signs, where we may be, like in Bakersfield. We landed in Bakersfield, so I went and got the Bakersfield sign. There's like where the Crystal Palace where Buck Owens used to own.
Oh,
so there's
right.
this huge sign that says Bakersfield and Buck Owens. Like there's a street called Buck Owens Drive, and I don't know if they used these shots, but I hope they did. But I just made sure that way just paints the picture of where you're at in this region of the tour.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, being a fellow camera dude, I feel like that's the most fun part. Like, I mean, it's fun to follow the action and shoot all that, but then when you get to get creative, when you get to go out and be like, all right, how do I want to shoot this sign? What, you know, at this time of day, like the sun's coming up and there's awesome light, or the sun's going down, or whatever.
I really enjoy going out shooting B-roll because it's really important part of the story. You know, it's got to shoot the lay of the land. You know, and if you don't have that, you don't have your story. You know. And
Yeah.
Yeah, the action is fun, and it's fun to laugh, but it's also really nice to be able to just go out by yourself and just get a little creative, you know. And
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that's airing right now. The third season.
third season's airing right now on Viceland.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Dude, I see it on your Instagram, Rick Kosick Instagram. It's like, you know, you'll put up some bits and
yeah, they
it's
send
fun.
us videos to help promote. They're probably gonna be sending me some today because it's gonna air again tomorrow night. So
Nice.
yeah, so it's just yeah, it's great, man. I'm grateful to be
so
part of it.
who are some of the skaters that are on it right now?
Oh man,
I'm like a little out of the loop. Like
I
I
am
feel like
too, you know?
growing up, I knew everybody that was the happening thing. But
Nija.
yeah, he's the dude I know, obviously, because
He's on with Element.
that part that he put out like not that long ago was freaking ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Like it was ridiculous. I literally like got goosebumps watching that. And was like, oh my god, that dude just ended skateboarding. Like he just let people know what skateboarding is.
Yeah.
You know, it was like. Oh, man, it was crazy to watch that part. If you haven't seen that part, check out that
the Nike video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And there's a couple of really good guys on the foundation team. They're all really good, you know, but they're just had the right spirit. And it's what they're fun. They weren't like freaked out with the challenges. Like two of the guys got married.
Oh yeah, on this show.
Yeah, on the show.
Oh yeah.
I mean, every team had that challenge to do, but I think we executed the best.
Yeah.
And it was like a big, you know, section of the show, and it turned out to be kind of really emotional, you know. It was really touching, you know.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean the challenge was to get married?
Yeah, two team members had to get married, legally married.
To each other?
Yeah.
Nice. That's hilarious. But then you said it turned out to be like this awesome moment.
Awesome moment. We went to a place in Reno where you can go get married.
Yeah.
And they kissed on TV, and they're just good friends. It's fun and all
Yeah.
that. It's just,
But it was a fun moment.
yeah, it turned out really well. You know, it was like, wow, we did a good job at producing this moment, and they really made a big section of the whole show. I was like, dang, we did a good job.
Yeah, no, that's cool. You know what? It's like it's insane to me. Like I think because I'm 38, I'm a little bit younger than you, but but I came up. I feel like in the 80s, like skateboarding. You know, when you had those big boards. Like I always had a Steve Caballero. Like that was my dude. Like the Caballero is the board I always had, but it was like, you know, those huge boards.
Out of everyone in the Bones Brigade, you identify with Steve Caballero.
Yeah, that was my dude.
What were your other friends like? Who do they identify with?
Well, Bam always had the Tony Hawk board.
Okay.
Scott had like Mike McGill or whatever. He had those boards. And then, yeah, I guess as we started getting older, different boards. But my brother had the Chris Miller board. And the Bam Bam wheels, you know, like the pink Bam Bam wheels, like way back. So I remember it was funny because we went to Audio, the shoe company, with Bam back when we were doing the Viva La Bam show, And like we met Tony and that, and I was like, oh cool, like Tony Hawk. And then we walked by this one room, and Chris Miller was in there. I was like, yo, is that Chris Miller? And everybody was like, what? How do you know Chris Miller? And like, you're not even that blown away by Tony Hawk. I'm like, well, Tony's cool, but like my brother had his board,
Yeah.
like, so and apparently Chris Miller still like rips.
Oh my god! I just went to the Vans contest they just had at the Vans skate park, and Chris Miller. They were watching the Masters, I guess, the Master Division.
Yeah.
And he won, and he's so good. And I'm like, Jesus, this man's in his mid-50s. I hope I'm correct.
Yeah.
He just
or early 50s, whatever. He's
whatever.
right. Yeah.
He shreds. I was like, dang, this guy's really good. Like,
Yeah.
But what I like about his ability is like he has a style, and
Yeah.
everyone in this time frame of skateboarding had their own style,
Yeah.
and the way he he can go in the square pool and just blast like an ollie to lip slide through the corner like it's nothing, and just these big airs still. And I was like, wow, man, this guy's great. I was just so excited to watch him skate.
Yeah,
So
dude, that's
good.
awesome. I would love to have been there. Yeah, because like when you said everyone has their own style, like Lance Mountain had his own style, you know, and Tony and Caballero and Hosoi was, like I mean. He was like probably my second. Like Caballero was always the dude that I followed and always had his boards, but Hosoi was the dude that was like flying through the air, doing those Christ airs, like that insane
I had
stuff.
a hammerhead board at one point.
Yeah.
And I don't think I ever had a Powell board.
Oh yeah.
But I watched the Future Primitive video like until that tape broke,
Oh
like,
yeah.
That's all you had. So, you watch those videos and you get pumped, and you go out and you try to emulate what they're doing, and it was fun,
Yeah.
It was so much fun back then.
Yeah, I know. And it's cool. So I was thinking like how much it's evolved over the years. Obviously, like I still have a board that I just cruise around on, but I don't like skateboard, like.
Yeah.
But just the level of the evolution over time, where you're like, at that point, like people were riding ramps, and then it went to like street skate, and then all of a sudden people were like street skating and doing that, and just to watch that evolution. I remember, so when we were young kids, Tony Hawk and Caballero and like the Bones Brigade dudes came to Westchester and did like a little demo.
On a mini ramp?
Yeah, they built this mini ramp, and you think like back then the mini ramps were probably like, 10 feet wide. Like they were so thin. And like, they had like a bit of the vert, but they were like such a different ramp than they are now. But to watch those guys back in the day, we were blown away. They came in, I think it was like probably, it's probably like 87 or something, or 88. They came in and did like a little demo in our small little town, and it was the coolest thing ever.
It's really cool to see how much skateboarding has advanced, and by coming back, I've been out of the industry for like a decade, and coming in to do the King of the Road TV show and to see how good these guys are, it's just mind blowing. I'm like, geez,
Yeah.
how do they do it?
I know. Like I feel like when I watched that Nija part, it was like watching Tony Hawk Pro Skater. It was ridiculous. This dude.
Yeah.
Like it was like, wait, you could do that as a human?
I mean, I guess we don't see all the bails and the attempts to make these. Maybe they make it right away. I don't know. But I'm sure they've definitely taken some hard slams. But
yeah.
But the fact that they're able to knock these tricks out so fast, it's just mind blowing to me. And like,
yeah, and even watching like what was it, Street League or some of those contests that like it's like the dudes are putting together lines with it are like real hard, and they're landing it like the whole way. It's like,
I just watched the X Games Street just the other day that they just had on TV.
Oh yeah,
and like these guys are doing these hard tricks like it's nothing. Like, I'm like, it's a video game? Are you kidding me? Like,
yeah. It is
really good.
It is crazy how it's evolved to that. But no, that's fun. So and it made me think of like, obviously you're well known for Big Brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like what was that like kind of coming up through, cuz basically what I was talking about with the 80s, like them doing little demos in our hometown, like you went through all of that up until, like you said, like about 10 years ago, like the present of what skateboarding is.
Yeah.
Like, so you basically witnessed through your lens, the evolution of skateboarding.
Yeah, it's a weird way to put it, but it's definitely true. And it's hard to say, like, with skateboarding and what I got to see. It was definitely different because it's also kind of hard too because people were a little bit hesitant to want to be in Big Brother magazine because you know you're gonna get messed with.
Well, dude, you know what was cool? You invited me to the Tribeca Film Festival, and you let me bring my wife Asha, and we came up and went to see Dumb, the Big Brother documentary, and that was so cool to kind of just watch what that was through that. But you know, it gives way obviously to Jackass and all the stuff that's how you and I met.
Yeah.
But to see that, yeah, I mean, that whole culture was already there. Just like the funny little articles, like crazy stuff. You know, they're showing tits in there, and like, and it was just, you know,
basically Big Brother magazine was the internet before the internet.
Yeah, yeah, dude, that's a great way of putting it. That's like exactly what
it showed. Everything that you weren't supposed to see as a kid. You know?
Yeah, and it was sort of like ADD ready, you know, like because it was like this thing over here, that thing over there. There's just like so much information happening on those magazines.
Yeah, it was a wild time. There were some really fun moments, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it. You know, and, it was great when we were in El Segundo working at World Industries and had my own little office space, and we just, you know, we all worked our butts off, you know, because I was doing multiple jobs. I was not just shooting the photos, I was scanning the photos, I was the guy trying to sell ads, and you know,
so just wore like many hats.
Wore many hats. You had to, you know, and even though I didn't technically know what I was doing, but I was figuring it out.
yeah. Well, I feel like that's the best part because that you get creative when you're trying to figure out what you're doing.
You know, and Jeff was, you know, laying out the magazine, and Mark McKee and Sean Clever were already full-time artists doing graphics, but they were also writing the stories, and then we had Earl Parker over there on the side trying to do what he could do, and then just cranking it out. And it was so fun when it was a bi-monthly magazine. It was just, I felt like you could put a lot more into it.
Yeah.
And when we got sold to Flint and it became a monthly magazine, it was just like, oh geez, this is it. This is like the beginning of the end. I felt, you know, like.
Because you're kind of, then all of a sudden, it's almost like how Jackass was, you know, like when you think about, like, you guys had, like, the crap video and, like, all these.
Yeah.
And it's like a culmination of stuff over time, and you get a chance to let it breathe and kind of be creative with it. And then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, now produce this every week.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, man. And, like, for you, it was every month with that magazine.
I just, people talk about it in that time frame. There's like, yeah, you remember seeing this movie, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, man, I never went to movies, and I don't remember watching TV because I was so busy making the magazine. I was working 7 days a week, and it just got to the point where I was so burned out towards the end. I just hated it, and I was just fried, you know? And I look back at it, if I think I just took a little more time off here and there, I think it would have been better to manage my, you know, my sanity, you know?
Yeah.
It was just... God, it was hard, you know, and it's just at that time too. There's no facilities, you know. You're just the street, and like you're doing this story, and this guy goes, "Oh, I can't skate this spot because such and such did this," and I mean, like, all right, great. Where do you want to go? You know?
yeah.
All right, I guess we're gonna go to Venice Beach and go to the pit, you know. And that was our last go-to. Like we had nowhere to go. We got kicked out everywhere. We just ended up in Venice Beach.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what was so cool because, I mean, growing up, I hung out with Bam and Maldonado a lot, and then Carrie Getz, you know, came around, and it was like those guys, and I kind of just was like the groupie of those three, you know, like I just hung out and traveled, but it was cool to see kind of a skateboarder's mind work and go, yo, I just saw this gap over here, and I need to make that happen, and trying to find those new spots that, like you said, that no one has done before.
I get it why no one would want to try and do a trick at that. They want it to be their thing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is my moment to shine. I want to be as creative as possible. I want a fresh spot that no one's never skated. Great, let's do it. You know? But it's just, at times, you know, when you have a deadline, it just gets hard, you know? And like, you're just trying to get this done. And then back then we're shooting film. And then, you know, I would get in trouble with, you know, Flint ask me, why are you going through all this film? Because, well, I'm trying to explain, like, you're shooting a sequence and they don't make it. You know, you're going to have to go through all these roles until they make the trick. And then just throwing away film, and they didn't understand that concept. and we were just going through film like crazy. It's just this is pre-digital era.
Well, it's so funny because they're making Penthouse or Hustler, yeah.
And whatever dirty magazine that
Yeah.
was produced,
Yeah, so they're making Hustler magazine, and then they're coming into the skateboard world and going, "What's going on?"
Why are you shooting all this film? Are you stealing it?
Yeah. No, I know, and that is crazy to think about back when it was film. Like now, because now like I'll be on set and it'll just be like, "Oh, roll camera," and then the actors won't get the lines right or whatever happens or the lighting's wrong or something's wrong, and they just don't even call cut. They just let it roll forever, and it's because it's digital. It's like, oh, we'll just scan through that and then cut the rest out.
Exactly.
Where back in the day, it was like, no, each thing needs to count.
Every moment counts, and when you flub that line, cut.
Yep, immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah, and now it's just rolling forever, and it's crazy to think of shooting skateboarding with film.
Yeah, I sometimes I pull up my transparency film, reversal film. You look at it, and you're like, wow, this has a look to it,
Oh, for sure.
And digital is just digital,
Yeah.
And you can probably go in and tweak your camera to have it to make a look if you want, but you can do that in Photoshop too afterwards. But it's just film has its own look, and I miss that, And
Yeah.
it's just something.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can try as much as you want, but it doesn't have that cool feel.
And plus, when you're shooting reversal film, your exposure had to be 100%. And back then, there was no digital backs. And so I just, over time, I figured out my own system, a way I would work my flashes and how I would set everything up and, and just shoot it and you just know you got it. I'm like, how do you know you have it? I've got it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so I'd get it, sometimes there would be like this one Muska cover. It was the 50th issue of Big Brother magazine. And Chad was doing this rail on Wilshire Boulevard, and it was gnarly. It's like a very little run up, and he had one try. I think he did 2 times, and I got the shot.
Oh, man.
Just 2 photos, bam. And so, sure enough, it ended up being the cover,
Damn, that's cool, man. It was cool that you brought him up, too. I feel like he's a super inspiring guy, and he's out skating a bunch. I follow him on Instagram, and he's out skating again and doing that.
He's got the bug, and which is good, and just it's about having fun, and I think you found that again, which is important with anything you do, whatever it's skateboarding or whatever makes you happy. As long as you're having fun, just give it 100%, and
yeah.
And that's what I like about Chad. He gets involved in something, and he gets obsessed with it, and he follows through with it, and.
Dude, he's done some like amazing artwork too. Like you invited me to one of his art gallery showing things, and that was really neat. I remember just being able to be there and just see all of it, and it was like, damn, this dude inspires. He's
done a lot of great things. Like, it's not just art; he's also a good fashion sense. He designs great shoes that have been very successful over the years.
Yeah, you did some cool commercials.
Yeah, one year I did little short run commercials with him, and cut to the footage.
Yeah. Cut to the Supra, right?
The Supra.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, it's just Chad's a cool guy, and I just like that he's back on the board having fun, and I don't know if he cares if he's ever going to be like the super gnar guy, because skateboarding is so advanced.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to do that.
He already did that.
He already did it. I think just have fun with it.
That dude was on top of the world for a while.
He doesn't need to be hucking himself down some huge rail to maybe kill himself. You already proved yourself,
Well, I think that's what's really cool about skateboarding too, is that I feel like every single skateboarder is an artist, and that's what's neat about that sport, if that's what you want to call it. Because it is a sport, but it's also like an art form, and it's like what's so cool and what was always fascinating to me about skateboarding is that you look at a guy like Chad, and it's like, yeah, he was the pinnacle of skateboarding, and then he went on to do his music, and then he went on to do his artwork, and then he's finding his way back on a board to have fun with it, and that's just cool to watch.
Yeah,
and
I think so too.
Yeah, and some of the other dudes like Bucky, watching Bucky Lasik, skating now. Like, dude, he had something on his Instagram the other day that was like, what?
Yeah,
this
but-
dude is crushing, and like, you know, and you know, he's mid-40s or whatever, and just still.
I think Chad
shredding.
got injured, so he hurt himself. So I think he fell out for a while, and he's just finally getting back into it. And it's just one of the things. Like, if you don't get off your board and you keep going, you're gonna maintain that. You know, a perfect example is Tony Hawk. He put out that amazing video part when he turned 50.
Yeah.
He was just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this guy's killing it.
Yeah,
He's better than ever.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing, dude, and it is. It's just to see the evolution, but to also watch like that. There's like even with Muska, like he just continues to put out creative energy, and regardless of whatever it is that he's doing, like I said, I'm inspired by that dude. Like I watch that stuff and I'm like, man, this guy just goes that direction and he's just doing awesome stuff, and then he goes that direction, he's doing awesome stuff. And
isn't it interesting how when people are doing positive things that you can latch onto that and you want to like be like that, and it's an inspiring.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show when you're positive and you're putting that energy out there, people are attracted to it. Just say, for instance, like Day One. Do you ever follow him?
Yeah.
Dude, that guy's bonkers.
Yeah, his stuff is just incredible.
And he's just doing like the stuff that he's always been good at, and back in when he was, you know, in the Big Brother days, he never wanted to showcase it, is the goofy tricks.
Yeah.
He always wanted to do the tech trick that would, you know, was supposed to be, but now he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I admire that so much more about him, and he's just, I think he's better than ever, and I just love watching his Instagram because it just blows my mind.
Well, and that's kind of what I was thinking is terms of just creative. Like it's like once he's truly himself and doing exactly that, that's when you're like, man, taking notice. I mean, not that you weren't, like, because that guy is incredible throughout his whole career, but to see that, like, and I think as you age, like, I feel like just being such a fan of skateboarding, growing up and all that, I always felt like it was like a rock star sort of thing where it's like, yeah, but what are you gonna do when you're 30?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No one knew back then.
Yeah, and then, I mean, especially parents too, because they're like, put the skateboard down, go to college. What are you gonna? And it's like, and then you watch and you say, like, Tony's putting out this insane video when he's 50, and you know, and Day One is like doing all these you know, this is awesome stuff, and I don't know, it's just so cool to see it progress, and also to watch the skateboarders age, but then get more creative as time goes, and then do with what's like within their realm, but that makes it more themselves. It's awesome to watch that over the course of time.
Yeah, I agree. Like Muska, Day One, Tony, and I don't know who else. You know, it just seems like everyone that I follow, they're enjoying themselves, and no matter what age they're at, and that's important in life. You know, you just gotta be happy and be content.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Well, speaking of of like continuing to do stuff, I was thinking actually that for some reason that made me think of, didn't you just go with Steve-O and film some?
I did. I don't know if I'm allowed to even discuss. Like, I don't want to give it away. Because
you can't, but it seems.
I went and DP'd a segment for Steve-O recently, and I think you'll be able to see it on his upcoming comedy tour. I'm not gonna get the cat out of the bag, but it was pretty. You know,
yeah, it's definitely something to look towards.
Yeah, you'll see it on his upcoming comedy tour.
I had a camera buddy, Chuck. I guess was he with you there? This kid Chuck.
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
So he texted me that he was like that he was there or whatever, and he was like, "Yo, I'm with like Rick and these guys," and like I guess he might have just been like an assistant or helping you guys out or whatever.
There's this guy Andrew.
Yeah.
And then I don't know Chuck. Who's
He's like this skinny kid, but he sent me this text and he's like, "Yo, I'm with them right now. You never believe what's happening." I'm like, "Oh, I know what's happening. I was talking to Rick, you know." And so yeah, like it's just hilarious. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But it's cool to I was just, as you were, you know, we were talking about just continuing to like film stuff and do stuff and evolve and keep getting, you know, doing new things.
Steve blows my mind, you know, and like he's always been the type of guy that's always producing, whether he was messed up on drugs at his lowest point and still getting crazy footage. But now that he's 10 years clean and sober, he is so focused and so on it. It blows me away that he's just created this successful comedy tour. He's always had a good stage presence, even when he was back doing the old stuff. But he's just so more refined, and he's just got it together, and it's inspiring, you know. And I looked at him like, wow, man, you're a role model now, you know, like you're doing great things, and you know,
and I feel like, dude, like that thing he did in Hollywood with the SeaWorld thing, like I literally think it like. Because didn't they change? Now they're not going to have like.
I think it's part of it. I think it was part of evolution of things.
Yeah, I mean, but it's you know, I feel like it was probably happening, but he definitely like nudged it over the edge with like just bringing so much attention to it. I watched that documentary, Blackfish or whatever.
I've never seen it. I heard it's pretty.
Oh, dude, it was. It was like, oh my God. Yeah. So, and then to see what he's doing with that, like SeaWorld sucks and all that stuff. It's cool to watch, and he's always been an awesome guy, and even when he was, you know, in the drug world, he was still, you know, a good dude with a good heart, and it's cool to watch that. But yeah, so you have to look forward to
his upcoming comedy tour. It's coming. It's coming your way.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I was thinking more about, because I mean, you're constantly doing stuff, and you're inspiring to me too. Like I was saying that about Muska, but every time I go over to your house, you're like, hey, check this out, I'm working on this, or hey, I'm working on that, and I'm like, man, it inspires me. So whenever I leave hanging out with you, I'm like, man, I gotta work on the things that I wanted to work on, and and in a good positive way, it inspires me to go, damn, I need to keep doing what I'm doing and keep working on that stuff, because you always have something fun, like there's always some fun project. I watched I forget what was it, was that one video, I was looking at it on your website, but it was like, you know, the dude in the train, and he's like the skater kid in the train, and he's like on the train and then kind of following throughout, like but anyway, there's so many of that stuff, you know, that like I don't know what I can talk about in terms of, like, you have another project in the works.
I got a few things in the fire right now. Just cranking them out, but you know, these passion projects can only go as fast as they can go when there's no finance behind it. But I've got like 4 things I'm working on at the moment. Yeah, and just being resourceful, and you know, and just I think it's great because it's practicing when you got very little resource and what you can create. Yeah, with next to nothing. Sure, give me some money. We'll shoot on a red. I'll be glad to. You know? Give me a sponsorship or whatever it's gonna take. We'll knock it out. You know, but.
But when you're just kind of forced to be creative with
you got to make
limited resources,
what you can work with, you know, and I think it's challenging, it's fun, and I guess it's not the tools, it's the cook. Or is that the correct analogy?
Yes, sure. That sounds perfect. But also we did, or like I didn't, but you did the Turbo Negro music video, and then you asked me to help out on one of the days, and that was super fun. We got that old El Camino, and that thing was barely running, and we're out in the middle of the desert. It's like 100 and something degrees.
Yeah, it was crazy. It worked out great though, you know. And
what's the song for the Turbo Negro?
Hot for Nietzsche.
Yeah, okay. And, you have to check that out.
It's out there, and that was fun. You know, it's like, I wanted to take the video in another direction, but they just really were looking to have a certain type of look, and I'm like, all right, I'll do what you guys want, you know? And,
it looks awesome. I mean, that was like a live performance in Vegas.
You know, performance of the 2 days. We filmed the punk rock bowling, and we drove back into Santa Ana. They did a show at the Observatory, so we just kind of meshed the 2 nights together, you know, kind of make it hopefully look like you couldn't tell. Yeah. And worked with what we got, you know, and made the most of it, and I think it turned out okay. Oh yeah, it looked. I mean, I thought it turned out awesome. You know, and I watched it. I watched it again recently, and but yeah, it was cool to be a little part of that, and Thanks for helping.
Yeah, man. Well, no, it was cool to be asked, and you were like, oh, we need to find a car, and I was like, I know this kid with this old El Camino, and you know, it was like part of the beginning or something where they're driving towards Vegas.
Like going to Vegas. Yeah. And it was like some sort of they were playing the song from the previous video, so it was like you got that looping in this new video. Oh yeah. So I don't know if anyone caught that, but
yeah, no, yeah, that's cool. And so now, like, some other things I was thinking of, like, you always bring me down to the Comedy Store for, like, there was, like, Roast Battle. You introduced me to that.
Roast Battle and Kill Tony night.
Yeah, the Kill Tony podcast. They
Want to go tonight?
Yeah. Well, actually, I got a thing, but I'm supposed to do this.
You're always welcome to come.
Yeah, but no, I want to go again soon because I did, and that's that's super fun.
Yeah, I love going down there because I was introduced to it a couple years ago, and I started going to the roast battle night, and I would just stand in the very back in the belly room and like just tell the people at the door you're a comedian. I'm like, okay, that's we don't have to pay, and like comedian, like yeah.
I'm hilarious.
I'm hilarious. So I would just stand in the very back for like the first 6 months, I think I want to say, and just observing this world that just being introduced to, and it was just like, wow, this is it. It's like a punk rock concert with just slash wrestling and just humor, and it was exciting, and just I was obsessed with it. I was like, I'm not going to tell anyone about this. I've been friends with it for a while because I want this is my thing.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. Because I feel like throughout my career, it's always kind of like my biggest achievements are things that make people laugh, like Big Brother Magazine and Jackass. And now I'm seeing this world of, stand-up comedy. And I just loved it. And I would just go every week. Every week I'm there. I'm still going every week.
Yeah.
And so...
well, they ended up turning it into a show, right? Like,
yeah, Roast Battle turned into a TV show. I think it's the third season now. I just went to a taping the other night, and I watched the Jeff Ross roast or battle, I should say, against Blake Griffin.
Oh,
the Detroit Pistons.
The basketball guy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Tony Hinchcliffe went up against another guy, and so his name's Mike Lawrence, I think. And but yeah, it was just a fun show to watch, But it's just weird to see it on this bigger scale and in a bigger, like a fancy stage and audience. That you have to go through a special company so you can watch TV taping, and they just place people and.
Yeah.
But at the Comedy Store in the belly room, it's like it's a lot gnarlier. It's like everything goes. It's like it's a own little sacred ground, so you could just say whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it's pretty raw.
Yeah.
And I've seen some amazing moments in there. Just you're like, wow, this is bonkers.
Yeah. They don't have to like kind of PC it up.
There's no PC. It's, everything goes, and it's exciting and funny, and I've seen some of the most creative writing ability and joke writing and just.
Yeah.
And then it's a lot of spontaneous stuff too, and it's just a certain energy and excitement. I'm like, I'd get home and I'm like, God, I can't go to sleep now. My brain is just like charged.
Yeah, that's also. Are they still doing it like that, or is it always being taped?
It's not always being taped.
Okay.
So I think they did 3 tapings, 2 shows a tape, two shows a night. So I think it's finished. And yeah, so they're just back in, they do upstairs in the belly room, keep it small, exciting.
Yeah.
And then Kill Tony is in the main room now. And that's great too. I've seen some just incredible moments there. And
yeah,
it's just fun, I just like to see everyone trying to, give it their best, and even though some of it really sucks,
The one night I went, it was funny because there was like this guy that he, I guess, hadn't been up on stage in all these years, and then like he could tell he was nervous, so he was just drinking a lot.
Oh,
and
that's
then,
that guy.
Yeah, and then by the time they called him up on the thing, he was like liquored up,
It was bad.
And he got up there and just got killed.
Made a complete ass out of himself.
Yeah, he made an ass out of himself, and then all of the comedians were just like roasting him so hard. Like they literally got it went from like funny to like I think they hate him.
Oh, because he made a complete ass of it. And he was disrespecting everyone. And his ego got in the way. And I was just like, oh my God. I've been talking about this guy to people like, yeah, this guy I'm friends with used to be a comedian here at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
He wants to come on the show, blah, 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 blah. And he got on and he burned himself to the ground. And I'm like, I was so embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God. I can't believe I was talking about this,
Yeah, you're like, I don't know that guy. I don't know that guy at all.
And it was just like, not only I was embarrassed because I was like speaking highly of him, but he was embarrassing to himself. And And since then I've never spoken to him.
Yeah, he like bailed out right after that, and that was it. And it was like, oh man, I hope he's all right.
I hope he got an Uber ride home or something. Someone came and picked him up because he was wasted.
Yeah, I mean it was funny because I that was kind of a reminder to me because like I haven't been drinking in like 9 years, and I used to do that all the time. Like if I get super nervous, I would just keep drinking, and all of a sudden you're laying under the table completely wasted, and it's like your nerves get to you, and so I could relate to him a little bit in the fact that he was doing that, and I bet you if you didn't drink that hard, he probably wouldn't have been that bad. He would have been more aware.
I think he'd been a little, not so cocky and just like, hey, yeah, man, this is cool. Thanks for getting the opportunity, and just kind of talk a little bit more. And instead, like, he was trying to make fun of everyone and being a jerk, and it just backfired on him. It's like, oh my god!
I just watched that thing go off the rails hard.
It's just like, oh
yeah, man.
And I had to go talk to Tony about it the next day. I was like, oh my god, that was so embarrassing.
That's funny,
but kind of funny too. He did to himself, so it's like whatever.
Yeah, so that's what on Monday nights is the Kill Tony thing at the Comedy Store.
And that's great.
Yeah, that's super fun. I think Wee Man Jason was out that night with us.
Yeah, he's gone up a couple times, and I've been a guest on the show, and even though it's hard to be a guest on that show because it's a fast moving performance of like and I learned from my moments of being on television too. It's like you don't want to step over people's lines, and so I don't know when to say things, and it's going so quick, and I don't want to be like, oh, I just ruined this guy's what he's trying to say for me just to chime in, and so it's like it's a muscle, it's a skill set you got to develop.
It's a dance.
It is a dance.
Yeah. And Jeremiah, the one dude on there, is super funny.
He's
and
amazing.
Yeah, and he's just like kind of. I feel like he's a guy you wouldn't want to you wouldn't want to step on him because he's
let those guys shine.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're great, and everyone's super fun on that show, and it's cool that I've slowly gotten to develop a friendship with these guys, and like it's a trust, and I've kind of just slowly eased my way in the whole that world, and just didn't like push anyone around. I just stood in the back in the belly room watching the roast battle, and then finally Brian Moses goes, "Hey man, what's up? I'm Brian." He introduced himself.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Hey, I'm Rick." He's like, "Hey, want to come sit down?" And then finally, from there on out, I was like always up in the VIP section, or I could, they just anytime I can walk in now, and they take good care of me, and they're super cool, but I don't overextend it,
Yeah, no, that's awesome, and you've been able to bring me out, which is super fun to witness it and be a part of it, and dude, I love it down there. I love always going to the comedy shows in general.
Mm-hmm.
I had one of my buddies on the podcast that's a comedian, and he has a show called The Darkest Hour, which is like a bunch of comedians that come up and do it. And actually on the 24th, I'm going to go out and do a little story.
Oh.
And because he was like, oh, tell one of your like dark stories, like funny dark stories kind of thing. And I was like, oh man, that would be cool. I've never gotten up on stage and done that, so. So
I feel like I have a lot of funny stories. Maybe I can contribute to something in the future.
We'll get you up there. Yeah, that would be good.
Some of the guys went and did these Jackass storytelling tours, and I asked on it. I would love to because I got some things I could share.
Yeah. We'll have to get you on that because he has some good guests on the show, and he's looking to try to get that going. Like the comedians do their thing, and then like kind of at the end you do like 10-minute story of whatever's, I
have to figure out what I'd want to share, though.
Yeah. Well, it won't be recorded, so you can share whatever you want. You don't have to be PC, and you can let it fly. But yeah, no, that's what I'm gonna do that in a couple weeks here, and that should be fun.
Where are you gonna do that at?
I forget what the venue's called. I have to figure it out. He said it a bunch of times while I was on here, but it's I'll figure out what it is. But it's on the 24th of August.
Flappers?
No, it's down in Hollywood, I think.
Oh,
and
Improv?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So it's I think it's like more of like probably like a smaller spot, not like a huge spot like that. But it's called The Darkest Hour. His thing. So, but
Darkest Hour.
Yeah, we'll have to get you on there, dude. That'll be fun.
I have to check it out.
Yeah. Well, anyway, man. Well, it's been awesome, kind of just chatting and catching up. And
Yeah, thank you.
And going through the world of Rick Kosick, because it's an interesting world, man. You do some awesome stuff. And,
Thank you.
And I'm always impressed and inspired by you, and it's fun to have you on here and just kind of chat.
Yeah, man. Well, hopefully we'll chat again soon.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, man.
Thank you.
Cool.